Hello, everyone. It is Thursday night, Friday Eve. I love Thursday nights because tomorrow is Friday. I am on call, but this week supposedly, fortunately, I've not had too much to break me away from my study plans. Did have one call this morning, but not too bad. So anyway, hope you're having a good Friday Eve, and hope you haven't eaten too much candy from yesterday, so that you can actually, if you're studying tonight, you can actually learn something. Great to have folks in the chat already. We got already a shout out from Heisen and Jimmy. Good to have you folks. Yeah, we're going to continue on ISIS. This time we're going to do filtering and route leaking. And we are on day 316 of this vlog journey. This is really a vlog number 316. It's been way more than 316 days, but we've been pretty regularly on a daily basis here, blogging. Yeah, 60 days ago until that folks, 60 days, just so you know, in case you come and watch this stream from time to time, that is not only the countdown till my next CCIA routing switching written exam, that's the countdown to New Year's Eve. So, just letting you know. That's another reason you tune in here to the Land Tamer stream, because we'll remind you how many days until 2019. Anyway, still working on Mojave wallpapers here. I'm still digging them. Like, I upgraded, what was it? Was it Monday? I can't remember. Maybe it was Monday. But yeah, I've got it now in just a rotation. So, and I've been really digging the artwork, the wallpapers they've got included with Mojave. Apple always does it up when it comes to that. By the way, I don't know if anyone saw the new iPad Pro that came out. I saw the video, what was that, Tuesday? 2 days ago, yeah, when they had the Apple event. 2 events this year. And they revealed that Apple iPad Pro, and I don't like sit there and watch Twitter on Apple reveal days. I am always curious, though, what's going to be next? What's the big thing? Did all the pundits kind of predict what was going to come out? And it was only till, I think it was yesterday morning, that I got to see some of the announcements, because I was labbing. Hello. But yeah, I saw the announcement about the iPad Pro, and I watched the video, and there's still nothing, what's the word? It's still such a, I don't know, it's a physiological experience for me anyway, to experience new Apple products and to watch an Apple release video on a Mac. I don't know, there's just something about it. It's weird. I can't explain. It's not logical. But I literally said wow out loud when I saw that. And it has been like that for me every year on Apple reveals. I used to be an Apple hater. Don't trust me. When I was deep into Linux was my main, squeeze, and I was all about the Linux. And I was running Fedora, which of course announced this week is being bought by IBM. But that's cool because they've always been feeding IBM and Red Hat, right? But not bought by Fedora. Fedora is the open source. Red Hat's being bought by IBM. Big Abe, how are you doing tonight, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Nothing wrong with Linux being your main squeeze. And that led to my love for Apple products later. It came later. I noticed a lot of people that were Cisco engineers that I was getting exposed to were running MacBooks. So that kind of piqued my interest, and I started to not be so snide about Apple products. And Jimmy says the iPad Pro is too big in my opinion. 12 inch. Yeah, it's pretty big for an iPad. I will give you that. But it is beautiful, folks. I mean, and it's probably more powerful than my computer. Also the Mac Mini, which to me looks like my old. Now I have a. Oh shoot! I can't even think of the name right now. Yeah, I have an Apple TV right now at home, and I've had this thing for years, folks. Bought it for $100 off or $98 off Amazon years ago. And and it's still running, and the little iMac Mini looks like my Apple TV. Uh, Man, while the underlying OS is FreeBSD, I still think overpriced, overhyped. I know, dude, for him, I know. I am not going to argue against you. It is definitely overpriced. Heisen says, cluster Mac Mini, great idea for running even G. Hey, yeah, I like it, man. I like where you're going, Heisen. Yeah, run even G on all the things. Raspberry Pi. But yeah, I have to say, I have since sort of converted, and again, it's not logical. My love of Apple products is not logical at all. It doesn't make sense economically. I have no reason to buy Apple products, but it's passed from the realm of logic. Now, I do really like the fact that they do have, and you know, when I found out that you can love Linux and you can still do all your Linux stuff for the most part on a Mac, it was over. That's when, like, okay, I'm done. I'm going. And again, it was basically doing setups of Macs for clients that I got really excited about. Anyway, I got off the subject, folks. Azure Labbing project's going well. We are up to 15 routers. Like I said, I have not been able to play with my deployments yet. If you were watching stream last night, you saw me. My approach to dealing with the issue with doing Wireshark captures and the wrapper is just to build a Windows server in Azure and use that to get to run my Wireshark captures, and that works great. Can't be logical, as otherwise we wouldn't be paying 4K for a laptop that is Windows land you get for 1.5K. I'm guilty to it as well. You know what I'm talking about, Jimmy? Yes, exactly. I converted Windows to the productivity app I use on Mac. Things was not available via web, so Todoist is on all platforms and works perfect. Yeah, I've had that issue, dude, for him with Visio for years. I had that problem when I was running Fedora. So when I was running Fedora on my work laptop, and that was when I made the leap, I'm like, if I'm going to learn Linux, it's like anything else, folks. If you want to learn it, it's not going to happen on its own. The only way for you to learn something is just to dive in, right? And that's what I did. I said, I've been putzing around. I get frustrated when I just once in a while play with Linux. The only way I'm going to learn it is by doing this, right? Go into a bash terminal. That's the only way to. And so what I did is I just wiped my work laptop, and it was okay at that time. The company I was working for, this was a cool thing to do. I could not do that now with the current company I work for, but I wiped it with Linux. Well, actually, I think I backed up my Windows computer to another image file, like a VHD or something. It converted it to a VHD. I booted up Linux. I installed VirtualBox, and then I put my Windows instance in that. So for Visio, yes, I ran Visio as a networking consultant for several years. With inside of VirtualBox. Wasn't the fastest thing in the world, but I would shut everything else down, run VirtualBox, and run Visio, and it would work. But man, I learned a lot about Linux that way. Absolutely. That's my take on like the cloud and Azure and things like that. The only way to learn it, you can take a course. That's the best way. But if you don't have time, just whatever project you need to work on, things you need to do, play with them in the cloud. Anyway. So what I did is, like I said, we've got 15 routers now. It hasn't really phased the environment at all. There is an issue sometimes, but I've seen this before. Community Edition, even G, even in Viral, I saw this. I think it's more the Viral image, where you tell the routers to boot and they don't all boot at the same time. That's fine. It's better anyway, typically, when you get in a big lab anyway, just to boot up a few at a time. So that's what I did. I'll boot up like 3 or 4 at a time, and that works out just fine. So here's where we are on that. The network lessons is going well. So last night after I got off stream, where was I? DIS and pseudonode. All right, folks, I did a metric lab. I did a redistribution lab. I did a summarization lab. I've been, spending a lot of time in pretty much any free moments that I get on this site. So I'm on ISIS filtering, ISIS route leaking. I hope to finish this either today or Saturday. I'm off tomorrow. And then go start this weekend. My goal is to start into Unit 4, which is the weakest area for me, I think. And that is not so much because of MPLS. I feel okay somewhat with MPLS, but the DMVPN, IPv6 tunneling, and the layer 2 VPNs hurt me bad on the exam. So MPLS is fun. I love MPLS, Jimmy 67. And as a matter of fact, last year when I was going through the INE workbook was the first time I labbed MPLS. I built an MPLS network, and I was like, this is so awesome. I love this. I love this technology. So I'm really looking forward to that. And, we're going to go through MPLS, I think, somewhat quickly. But when we get to DMVPN, yeah, GRE, I'm not too concerned about that. DMVPN, we're going to spend a lot of time on. And IPv6 tunneling. I want to lab these too. And then Atom, your wireline. I know Atom is not used as much these days. Or maybe it is. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. And then we have also under VPN technologies is encryption. So we've got IPsec, get VPN. I don't think there's a lab in here, which is fine by me. I don't intend to lab. It's just kind of an explanation. Oh, there is a lab in here. Okay, we might do a lab. Who knows? Yeah, all good subjects. Use that every day. Yeah, that's all. Yeah, MPLS is great. So that's where we're at. And right now, I want to do at least this distribute list lab on stream. And then we'll have a trivia and no links of the day. I've been just slammed today. I mean, like, nose down, working on some templates, and yeah, it's been something else. So I'm going to kind of adapt the lab. That's what I've been doing in order to, which has kind of helped me enable to continue building bigger and bigger. See how far we can go. I don't think we've hit even like 20% utilization on this VM. So actually, let me bring that up. And yeah, probably won't add any routers tonight because this topology is going to work just fine right here in the ISIS area 123 that I built, but we'll see. Yeah, let's look at this. Okay, so you can see this is a 16 vCPU box. And I've got a 21 built. It's just not running and it's not set up for Eve yet. But as you can see there, when I first tried to, I guess, boot everything up, I got up to about almost 50% CPU utilization. Okay, so at least we're making a dent. It didn't even look like we were making a dent yesterday. Metrics are decent in Azure, and there's also a service called Log Analytics, which I don't have turned on, and Application Insights. There's so much logging in Azure, it's ridiculous that you can turn on. By default, you get very basic, but you can really turn on all sorts of logging features in Azure. So anyway, we're going to do this one, filtering. And so let me move this around real quick. Let's put this over here, this over here. Got my lesson up over here. Folks, these are not my labs. This is from networklessons.com, Renee Molinar site. And if you want to see all the nitty-gritty details, watch his videos, see his configurations, see the forum, comments, and replies, you definitely want to check out networklessons.com. All right, ISIS labs, filtering. So yeah, we're going to be in this area over here. And I'm learning kind of how to navigate with, I'm learning to appreciate this feature of Eve, the zoom feature. It was getting pretty small yesterday, some of the text. You see these crazy loopbacks I have. And just to make it harder on myself, I'm doing these like /31s. And we're going to introduce all kinds of junk in here before we're all done. Okay, so essentially there are two methods. ISIS has a lot of similarities, of course, with OSPF. And we know that with OSPF, Dude for Him and I had a discussion recently. Technically, it is possible to filter routes, routing updates in OSPF, but it's very dangerous. The reason why, because OSPF is essentially a distributed database with, your LSAs are your records. So once, excuse me, if you have a distributed database and you're cutting off some of the information being distributed to certain databases, your information is no longer in sync and you are going to potentially have problems. That's the design behind OSPF. ISIS is similar, right? Within your area, the idea is that everyone within this area is going to share all the same information. As a matter of fact, as we learned from this pseudonode lab, if you try to hide information from one of the other members of a link, for example, in the same area, you could have inefficiencies and traffic you want. So, as it says, so you rather prevent them from being placed in the rib. That was my understanding, so as not to mess with OSPF's rule that all databases need to match in an area. You're exactly right, Mark Milo. So technically it is, you can filter routes from OSPF. You don't, so yeah, you're essentially filtering, you're not filtering them out of the area. You're not filtering the updates from being in the area. So let's say you have a router like this, right? We have router 15. And this is what we're going to do in ISIS too, because it's very similar. So router 9 sends an OSPF update to router 15. Router 15, let's say this is your backbone area, and router 15 is, in ABR. So he's going to advertise, he might advertise a route to router 14. Now, you cannot really, the practice is not to try to prevent router 14 from sending an update to router 13, but you can certainly, on router 14, filter a list from entering the routing table of routing 14. You're exactly right, Mark Milo. And that is essentially the same concept with ISIS, because it is essentially, shared updates, inside of an area, everyone expecting to be running. That's why you have the CSNPs, right? The CSNP messages are being sent on a particular link because we want to make sure everyone has the same information. You can, however, do similar methods, and one is to do a distribute list to filter out of your own routing table, and you can do filtering between levels. So it does give you the opportunity in OSPF. And to me, this kind of reminds me of, not exactly, but you can essentially say, let's see, in OSPF, when you are an ABR, you can do summary routes, right? Let's see, on an ABR, when you are sending updates to the backbone area, I believe you can do the same thing, right? Yeah, so I think you can do the same thing there. And that is called area range. Yeah, the area range command. So we're going to do the similar tactic here in ISIS, but again, the filtering is limited. As it says here, yeah, ISIS is link state. So routers within an area have to be synchronized, just like OSPF. And the same applies to level 2 routers. So level 2 database needs to be the same as well. So we've got, for example, in this topology, we've got our level 2s are kind of forming a little backbone here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that are level 2 routers. Yeah, and this has to be the same. So as it mentions here, once an LSP is generated, you cannot filter it anymore. Yeah, exactly the same. Filter it from the routing table. So in this example, what we're going to do, we're going to set up a distribute list, and we're going to use, let's see, let's look at the routes on, it's called router 2 in the lab, but that is equivalent to router 14. Show IP route ISIS. Oh, the interfaces are shut down. That's another problem. I don't know why that is. I have seen this as well on my local computer. In fact, I look at the startup configs to confirm that the interfaces were up. Well, we will bring them up. Let me check some of these other routers too. Let's do router, well, I've already got router 9. We want to get some other, this is cool. I did a redistribution last night, EIGRP and ISIS. That was fun. I'd never done that before. Router 11. And do router 12, why not? Okay, we'll do router 11 to, or router 1. I really want a way to automate this stuff, man. I wonder, you know, I wish there was an API for EvenG labs or UNet labs. Maybe there is. I just don't know about it. Future project, maybe. All right. So now if we come back to the router, yeah, you see our adjacencies are all coming up. They were up last night, I swear. So yeah, we want, let's look at 14. Okay, so we'll notice, as is the case here, right? When you have when you are connected to an L1 L2 router in your L1 router, you will get a default route, which we have to 10.254.113. We've got some subnets here. This is the subnets within our area. So all we really know about here is a default route and what is in our area, and that's all we really need to know. That's an efficient routing scheme, right? If we're router 14, we don't need to know about all these routes out here, right? But of course, router 15 will know. Show IP route ISIS. Yeah, he knows about all the networks because we're sharing with our other L2 routers. So we've got lots of routes out here. 10.3. Actually, this is one. Yeah, that's the loopback. I don't even know where it is. I've sort of lost track now. It doesn't take much for me, but all right. So as we can see there, we've only got a few routes that are L1 routes, and what we want to do is, let's see. There's a loopback here. 10.253.118. Oh, that's over here, isn't it? So let's look at router 4 or 14. Why am I not? I am seeing the loopback. Yeah. 10.253.1. It's a weird one. .1.18. All right, so this is obviously an LSP that we have received from our L1 neighbor. And what we want to do is, we don't really, for whatever reason, we want to essentially black hole that traffic. We don't want to go in there. So we're going to create an access list. Standard, we'll say R1, what is that? R13, L0. Deny host 10.253.1.18. And we can do it as a host, right? Because it's a /32. It's a host route. And then, simple enough, we just go router ISIS distribute list R13 L0 in. Okay, we should notice though that that does not filter the LSP. However, it will filter the route. So let's say we go to, first of all, show IP route ISIS. It's probably recalculating. I'm assuming that's what it's doing. Oh, you know what? I broke the cardinal rule of access list. No access list standard. Durr. R1 L0. Well, where did it go? Oh, IP access list. That's right. There. All right, no IP access list standard. IP access list standard. deny host. Oh, was it? Permit any show run section router ISIS. I wonder how that impacts if you remove the access list. Yeah, it stays in. That's what I figured. Okay, so now just that route is gone, which is what we want. But if we do show ISIS database level 1 detail, all right, we're still receiving we still have the LSP in our database. And if we look at the router upstream, just 15. We still have it. But if we try to ping it, it's black hole, right? So that's simple in configuration, but the concept, right, is just something I want to emphasize for myself too, you know, is I know this is weird to do. There might be where you can do this, but you're not really changing the database. All right, so now let's go to the other method. I'm going to take that out just because I don't want to. Let's see, show was 14. Yeah. No access, no IP. All right, so I'll leave the distribute list there just for fun because I plan to use this lab later to torture one of my fellow study partners, you know, whoever that may be. Let's see, show IP route. Okay, ping 10 to all is good in the world. Now let's do the level 1 to level 2 filtering. All right, so what we want to do is try to prevent this same loopback. Look at our topology. So way up here, we should know about that loopback. Actually, no, because he'll have a default route. Let's look at farther up at one of our L1, L2 routers. Don't move, I need to lock this. Locked lab. Cool, it's locked, okay. It took me a while to get that stuff moved into place, trust me, longer than I care to admit, so. Yeah, so this router has it, he can ping it. So what we want to do is filter it at the L1, L2 router from getting into the backbone. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to go to not the ABR, but the L1, L2 router 15. And somewhat similar method, right? We're going to say IP access list extended R1, or no, whose route is that? R13 L0. Deny IP host 10.253.1.18 any. Permit IP any. It looks like Notice is forcing us to do here an extended access list instead of a standard when we're doing this type of filtering. Okay, we're going to do a route map. So as the lesson mentions, you can do this via distribute list, or you can do this via route map. The route map allows you to use named access lists, right? So we're going to do route map L1, L2 filter. That's good as name as any. Permit 10 match IP address R13 L0. And I assume that we can also use prefix lists with ISIS. I'm not sure if there's a use case for that yet. It looks like, at least according to this lesson, there are two ways to do the route filtering. Let me think. Yesterday I did redistribution. You might be able to do it with redistribution. Like I did a redistribution lab here. And in fact, I'll take a look at it. Let's take a look at this router. So yeah, we might be able to do this here. Router, yeah, well, let's go to the ISIS side. Router, ISIS, redistribute, EIGRP, 112. Okay, it looks like you can use a route map here. So yeah, for redistribution, I would imagine so. Yeah, no problem, Armilo. Yeah. So it does not look like for route filtering, but for redistribution, apparently. And then there's one other lab after this one. And it is, route leaking. So we'll see. That sounds like a candidate for prefix list, if you ask me. All right, so this route map, match IP address R13L0. Yeah, in most cases, folks, I'm learning just like you are. Oh, interesting. So look at this. So you can redistribute IS into I. You can do a redistribution of L1 into L2. Looks like you could go both directions. That's pretty cool. So you can control, you could definitely control what's filtered between, it's like an area range, right? And L1, L2 filter. That's cool. So now let's see what that impacted on the routing table. So let's go to this router here, which is the L1, L2 router. And yes, so let's see, show ISIS database level 2. Okay, I didn't understand the statement at first, but now I do, because it's saying on router 3, like I have the route on router 3. I have the LSP at level 1. But I also have basically two running instances of ISIS. I have level 1, and I have a level 1 database, and I have level 2 and a level 2 database. My level 2 database should match what's on the other side, right? So if I do this command on the same router, I should see it filtered out. That's kind of an unusual concept to think about versus other routing protocols. So verbose, and this will be begin R15. No, we want to do begin. Well, let's do our level 1 first. I need to remember to use these numbers. R 15.00-00. Yeah. I need to get into the practice of doing that. Okay, so 10.254.1. What was it again? .18. I don't see it here. Okay, it's there. What did I do wrong? Oh, yeah, I need to type the router number. Not mine, but who is sending it. So R13.0000. There it is. But if I look on my level 2 database and myself, it's not there. So if we go upstream, router 11, for example, he had it before. Not router 11. Shoot, I closed it. Router 8. The route is gone. It's gone. Yeah, so being that it's link state protocol, it's limited, right? Once you generate an LSP, it has to be synchronized. All right, so we'll move on to route leaking. I don't know how long this lab is, or this lesson. Oh, I'll bet I know what this is about. So, for example, in level 1 routers, we just get a default route, right? Uh-oh, this might be a different lab, folks. Okay, yeah, this is, ooh. This lab has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 routers. Oh, interesting. All right. Well, I may just start to build them here. I don't know how far I'll get. It's already 7:42. Okay. All right. Well, we'll just build this out, and I might do the lab a little later. All right. Let's see how we can latch this on to an existing lab here, if I can. Nope. I'm gonna have to build it. This is gonna be all new. I've got 3 here. I could add a router here to save some. Yeah, let's do that. So we're going to pull this out. It actually needs to go the other way, so let's do this. Nope, don't do that. This is getting harder and harder. I don't want those boxes. There we go. All right, and then we'll put this back. And believe it or not, we're going to add another router. Let's see, send it back. Let's zoom in. All right, we lost somebody. Oh, this was duplicated, wasn't it? Yeah. Oh, I see what happened. Okay, somehow this got messed up. Yeah, this is a different area. All right. I have no idea how that happened. That's okay. We'll fix it. There's 1123, and we'll make a new box. Change the color. Okay, he got lost over here somehow. And we lost an L1 somewhere. No idea where. L1, L2, L1. Okay, that looks good. Move this here. Okay. All right. And we're going to add another router. Because why not? Okay, so yeah, what we want is this. And this needs to be, what is it, 16? Yeah. Folks, we're about to add 4 more routers here. We're going up to 20. And this is L1. Okay, router 16, and then we're going to have, okay, 17, 18, 19, 20, and these are going to connect. Okay. Four more routers. Not 14, 4, yeah. All right, so we're going to have 17, 18, 19, and 20. You know, I found it's best to move these out of the way until everything is ready to go. Okay. And we're going to connect these. I guess it doesn't matter too much. How we connect these, we're going to have to shut these down. So let me save the configs here. Say 14. And 13. Then we're going to do export all configs. That's okay. I expect some errors on these because they're not running yet. Okay, then we're going to stop these 3 routers. And connect these bad boys up. So this is going to be... ISS was released in 1987. RIP in... Oh, really? It came out before RIP? Wow, cool. That's good to know, Dude for him. Appreciate that. Thanks for that link there, man. I don't know why it added a network interface. We're going to delete that. I did not request that switch, sir. Yeah, why does it say connected to network interface? Okay, that's strange. I think this thing is starting to freak out a little bit. All right, we'll come back to those. J 1, okay. J 2, okay. Okay, that one's successfully deployed. One to 2. Okay, then we're gonna go J 1, J 1. Two to 1. And 2 to 1. Or whatever. Okay, everybody's aligned. Let's try this again. 16. There we go. All right, so this is actually going to be 2 different areas. We have this area here. And a new area. I should just put the name here, huh? This would be area. And background color, we'll find something new. Hey, don't worry about the links, man. Actually, 1992 ISIS was updated. Use of OSI ISIS for routing TCP in dual environments. Yeah, always check the RFCs. You know, sometimes they have, it'll say published on and was updated by, or updates. You know, it's amazing how often the IEEE will like revisit protocols or update them, which is good, right? Okay, so we have now a couple of new connections here. 192.168.78.0. Okay, so we're gonna make this like what was the last one I used? 14, 18. Yeah, so we'll do 20. We're being real stingy on our subnets here. Our point-to-point links, and we're gonna do a new loopback. And just for grins, we're going to call it, you can probably see where this is going. Right, when we start talking about route leaking. Right, so we're probably going to have 2 routes from here to here, equal cost. And I'm assuming what we're going to want to do is, instead of getting a default route, we're going to want to leak this route out. That's just my guess, but we'll see. Yes, we're going to have, oh, these types are going to change. Okay, so this is going to be an L1, L2. Yeah, because these are all on the border, right? So these are going to be L2. Obviously, these are going to be L2s. I think we can afford to zoom in here a little bit. Not trying to make you blind, folks. Sorry, or myself. And these are going to be L1s. Yeah. These get to be where they're hard to grab. And this guy over here is going to be L1. 16. Yep, okay, so we need, yeah, updated ISIS to work in IP, but not IP into CLNS, connectionless network service. Yeah. That was a major update. It's interesting to read about all that. Radia Perlman, of course, is very instrumental in CLNS development. And in her book, interconnections. She talks a lot about that. It's fascinating to read some of that stuff. All right, so this one is going to be 22. We will make this one 24, and so on. I was working in networking during that time. Such a great time to be involved. Too bad I spent most of my time drinking and chasing. Oh man, I know what you mean, bud. I know what you mean. Other people, there were people doing that, who were spending time in networking more than us. But others of us had other priorities, right? I know what you mean, man. So yeah, my first exposure, well, major exposure, I'd say, was to IPX SPX. My earliest days of networking, I remember Novell Networks. If we're gonna get nostalgic here a little bit, and I need a label. IPX SPX, and there was a lot of arguments going on about which one was better. Was that IPX SPX better than TCP IP, or was a lot of people thought it was a joke that Microsoft was going to make an operating system to compete with Novell. They thought that was just ridiculous. It was laughable. Oh, but then, you know what? It's so much easier to install Windows NT server than Novell NetWare servers. And God, was it? Yes. Whew. Novell NetWare servers used to come on these. I remember my boss at the time, he was installing it. He had a stack of floppy disks like this tall. That was your Novell NetWare server install. Dating myself here, obviously. Of course, you probably had an AS400, not a mainframe, but you had an AS400. All right, so this is our lab, folks, and I can already tell you, I think, what's going to happen here, but let's boot these routers up. Yeah, we're going to get some of this failed to create network. I don't know what all that's about. It's like it doesn't like me shutting the routers off and then bringing them back on. Okay, that one came up. I was still laughable when Windows updates, lol. PDP 1170. I don't know what PDP 1170 is. Don't worry about the. Post it in Discord, dude, for him. Oh, there we go. Gunkies. All right, we're gonna look that up. I don't recognize this computer, but I tell you, it looks like. Okay, wow, that is. It basically took the high performance CPU of the PDP 1145 and augmented it with a 2 kilobyte 300 nanosecond cache. Wow. A Unibus map to allow device with Unibus access to all of that memory. Wow, interesting. Oh, digital. Okay. Yeah, digital was such a big player back then. very key to like commercializing, Linux and Linux distributions and not Linux, Unix. Sorry, we're so used to it's rare you hear anybody talk about Unix anymore. When you come to think of it, when I can remember that Linux was still kind of new and it wasn't taken very seriously. Unix was a big deal. Being a Unix administrator or Unix, um, ad, you know, but you don't really hear that anymore. We still have a ton of Sun boxes. Man, Sun was a great. In their day, the Sun was. They had those Sun work. Remember the Sun workstations? And as a matter of fact, I think we can. Because Sun had Sun had the Spark operating systems for which, like the early Cisco gear was programmed on. I think. I could be getting my history all wrong. IT history is so interesting these days, and I read an article in Apple News about somebody who has collected I don't know how many pieces of like old Macs, and just people are collecting this old equipment that is so cool. Like I would definitely visit a museum, a computer history museum. Not so not so ancient computer history museum. I love that stuff. All right, so we've got this area. It's all built now. Routers are booting up. Well, it's not all built, but it's built. The topology is built. We've got to reconfigure these routers. So actually, let me just let's get them all booted up here. 20. Let's do 19. Let's put them in order. Good for our sanity. So far, the server has not choked. Let's check in on our VM. I'm curious how our little VM is doing here. Man, I'm going to need to hop off here in a minute, folks, but I'll at least get this part built. I stayed up really late last night working on ISIS, and I need to get a decent night's sleep, and it's not that I don't want to keep working on this stuff, but one thing about getting older is you recognize when you need to rest. I've been going hard this week for sure, which is good. All right, so wow, once it booted up, that's really the most critical time is boot up. Once these routers boot, even once you get some protocols running on them, as long as you're in a steady state, let's go back to. You can export to Excel. That's cool. You can add a chart. There's so much you can do in here, folks. I want to go back to like 6 hours. Okay, yeah, we haven't, man. So this is average, right? Let's say the last. When did I start this stream? Okay, so let's say 7 p.m. We'll do automatic. Look at that. We're not even. We're nowhere close to pegging this thing out. We did get a CPU hog, but I see that all the time in my local box. And again, I think that's just when like the routers are all booting up. Fall asleep in the middle of a lab is using my signal to wrap it up. Yeah, that's a pretty good sign that it's about time. 2018. or when reading, man. When I have to, as much as I love networking, you know, reading about networking protocols is probably a lot of people's idea of like how to, like if you really hate yourself. Not us, because we love it, but yeah, when you're falling asleep. I'm in a reading only phase. I can disconnect my screen from the Surface Book 2 and just chill in Safari books, reading Routing TCP Volume 1. Great book, dude, for him. That's awesome. I love to read, I love reading networking books, man. I get excited. I really do. Okay, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So what's that, 8 routers? Reading stuff is very difficult, even with good attention. I have found that using Microsoft Edge and using the read out loud feature gets me through the small passing out phases. That's practical. I listen to a lot of audiobooks. Very few of them have been technical. I'm talking like War and Peace. The history of the decline and fall of the Roman Empire, all 3 volumes, like that kind of stuff. That I can listen to on long drives, doing chores. I do find it hard to listen to very technical stuff through audio unless I speed it up. When I speed it up, because, if it's not too engaging sometimes, like packet pushers, I love that. That keeps me engaged, etc. But some of the other audio stuff, like it's hard to stay engaged at a normal pace of conversation. But if you speed it up a little bit, where you really have to, you can't be doing other things. I don't know. That seems a little easier for me. Everybody's different, right? But when I was preparing for the CCNP and traveling a lot as a consultant, I listened to on Udemy. You could download Chris Bryant's course to audiobook, and I would do that, or YouTube. Some of the YouTube stuff I would download and play it on road trips. I used to listen to technical books while driving, but stopped because I was not getting enough value out of it. Yeah, that's the challenge. Motivational material is my go-to for driving. Love using Edge with Safari books. This highlights what it is reading as well. Interesting. I haven't used Edge, but I don't have much love for Edge. I'm going to be honest. Convince me otherwise. I don't know. I've lost my love for Microsoft browsers. I'm the same. Listening to Zig Ziglar lately. Oh yeah, his design podcast. Some great podcasts out there, man. Podcasting is getting ever more popular, just in general. Okay, so we got our routers. Those are configured. Let me just do this. I'm going to do a write here. Save the configs, and I may save the rest of this because, yeah, my wife said a class, she'll be getting home soon. She's not feeling too well. So I just want to be able to look after her a little bit. And yeah, this has been good. Let's get our trivia real quick while that is writing out. What was the comment here? I only use Edge for that feature. Lol, no other use for Edge. Yep, that is my go-to motivational speaker. That's cool. Yeah, Zig Ziglar's gets some good stuff. Okay. The highlights. Okay, cool. I'm about to renew my Safari books or resubscribe so I get to the Evolving Technologies book. And when I do that, I may try it out on Edge. Although I have an iPad, so I don't know. We'll see. All right. Dude, for him, already knows this. What kind of traffic is reserved for FFO2::12. Any other takers? Well, first of all, we know that this is IPv6, obviously, and it is, if you know FF, then this is very likely going to be multicast. And if you know FFO2, this is generally in link local multicast range. So the main thing you need to know is, what is 12, right? Well, one hint, let's say that you weren't sure. What you could do is maybe, now this doesn't always work, but you know, an exam, and sometimes desperate times call for desperate measures. What you can do sometimes is convert the host bit or bits from hexadecimal to decimal, right? So 12, let's try and do that conversion. I'm not real good with these, but generally what I do is I'll take, so we've got one bit here, so that's going to be 16 plus 2, so that's going to be 18. So just think, if this were an IPv4 multicast, link local multicast, what might it be? It might be 224.00.18, right? So if you still don't have it, well, take a guess, right? But I happen to know this one is vrrp in its implementation on IPv6, right? Virtual Router Redundancy Protocol. So there you have it, folks. Hope that helps. No meat chunks of the day. I've been way too busy I did manage to post on Twitter and Instagram, but it was real quick, and that's about all I did today other than work and eat. So anyway, folks, thanks for everyone in the chat. We shared some good times tonight, some good memories of times past in the IT world and the routing protocol world. Thanks so much for hanging out, folks. And what I'll do, hey, you're welcome, folks. Great. Thanks for hanging out in the chat. What I'll do, I didn't really get to offer too much. I guess we did do one lab together. But I'll try to share the results of this as a summary. I'm off Friday nights. This weekend I will be streaming for sure. And we'll see where the lab is at that time. But I'll share kind of what I learned on this as well. So thanks for hanging out, folks. Have a great Thursday night. Have a great Friday. And we shall see you here Saturday and Sunday here in the Land Tamer stream. Y'all have a great night. Sending everybody good bits.